So we've talked about what kinds of mini lessons you could be teaching with different mentor texts. We've talked about mentor texts. I'm going to talk more about mentor texts again and how to select books that are mentor texts. We know of some websites. Just some pictures of anchor charts that have been created. I think anytime you can see a visual, it really helps to cement your learning. So these are just a few pictures. I have a whole file of pictures when I've gone around and taken pictures of different mini lessons that have been taught around the district. And I think I could throw that onto a share drive possibly. Not really sure how to share that. That might work if I put it on a share drive and give everyone the link. Or if I I could put those up on a PB Works site too. So you could just see how different anchor charts have been created and what kinds of lessons have been taught. This is more like an author study. We've looked at something like that before. Okay, so the reading response notebook. We use the My Thinking. We talked about, when we were doing the overview, we talked about some people have a tab for lit discussion, so that the lit discussion tab is separate from My Thinking because the kids were having a hard time finding their lit discussion entries. Powerful language. We've been calling it words and phrases in our district, and then genre and strategy instruction. This is where most of your mini lesson or your anchor charts will go, is in this area, because that's where the kids are going to reference back when they're reading and needing information, or they're writing in their response log. Keep them short. We say 3 to 5 minutes. 5 minutes is actually a long conference. 2 to 3 minutes is an appropriate amount of time for a conference. A very strong, memorable experience within that conference, so they walk away understanding something new. Very focused. Could be around strategy, a skill. When we saw Rick in the conferencing, it was around, one example was around teaching for fluency, other examples were around building that theory. And put the reader in charge of that conference. I like to start my conferences off with, how's your reading going? Or, what are you working on in reading today? And often they'll say the title of the book. No, what are you working on in reading today? How are you helping yourself become a better reader is my question. So it takes the kids a little while for them to understand what it is that you're asking. I don't want to know what book you're reading. I want to know, what are you doing to help yourself as a reader? How are you applying things to help you to become a better reader today? Okay, this is the same Rick that we saw before.
I talked with my students at the beginning of the year that 5th graders are expected to be able to read 45 minutes without long, breaks from the book. Mm-hmm. And they were floored at that. And I guess I need to show them that they are actually doing that.
Oh, sure. Yeah, because you told them at the beginning of the year, now that you have them doing that.
Although now it's broken up with lit discussion. So if I'm meeting with their group that day.
Yeah, I was going to say not all groups are meeting every day. So,
right.
Yeah. Yeah, that would give them that picture. I love his statement of, it's all about building reading stamina, because soon they'll be reading mostly nonfiction, and they need that stamina for every line that they're reading, when every line that they're reading is new information. Because that's what happens with our kids when they leave. Well, and according to Common Core now, by the time they're in 4th grade, 50% of what they're reading should be nonfiction. So at K1, 2, 3, we need to be building that nonfiction as well as fiction stamina. And we've been adding more and more nonfiction to our book rooms, to our classroom libraries, and trying to make those kinds of purchases, but making sure that we're really making an effort to include that in all of our reading opportunities is very important. I did put a proposal in for adding nonfiction to every guided reading library and every classroom.